Hi there, this is Alana from the Red Angus Association. I work in the DNA department and I just wanted to get you updated on what is new with the DNA order form. So this first page is going to look a lot of the same things. I just wanted to touch on a couple things. It goes over how to collect hair, blood, or a tissue sample. It also goes over on how to send semen to the office. I included a little photo right there on the right-hand side as well if you're kind of a visual person. One thing I want to mention right here is the fact that if you submit hair on a blood card or blood on a hair card, the lab physically cannot test that, so it's very important to make sure you're submitting those correctly to us. So this second page is going to be just a little bit different, but not too much. I just want to touch on the fact that for parentage testing, you don't necessarily need a registration number to test that animal. Same with the defects, although it is encouraged. But for a GGP test, you must have a registration number in order for us to complete the testing. If you have questions on how to get your animal into the system, or kind of if you feel like you have a special scenario, please give us a call so we can walk through the best way to go about getting your animal a registration number if they come from Red Angus. Down here at the bottom, it's kind of a new format as far as our address here at the office. The address has not changed. We just kind of changed up how it's presented on this page. So this is kind of where it's changed a little bit more. So I'm going to go over this in a little bit more detail. But first off, I just wanted to bring your attention to the added to GGP column. So that basically means if you add those tests that have a different number in that column to a GGP, that is the price you are going to be paying for that defect. So for example, if you're running a, let's just say an LD test and you wanted to include NH, it would be $10 because you're running a GGP instead of the normal $20 as a standalone test. You can see there at the bottom, the $6 for the BVD. BVD pretty much added to anything is going to be the $6. If you just wanted to test your animal strictly for BVD, nothing else, you would pay the $8. You're also going to see 2 new tests on the sheet. So that's going to be the double muscling. You'll see that there. And then the black-red gene carrier as well. Down here on the bottom, I just wanted to really bring your attention to the fact that we have a brand new test bundle that's out there. It is awesome. It is the GGP-LD defect bundle. So it's going to include everything that you've seen in your LD previously. So that has the parentage, the genomic enhanced DPDs, OS, and MA testing. But this test will also include the other 4 defects that we monitor in addition to the OS and MA. So it's going to be DD, NH, CA, and AM for $95. It's a great test that we've just rolled out, so I hope you all take advantage of it. Up at the very top, I just wanted to bring to your attention that hair samples are an additional charge for you. There's a $5 additional charge, so if you were running a parentage test and submitting hair, it would be $20 per sample. Next is the order form itself. I'll try to cover everything that I've been asked recently about it. So up here at the very top, you're going to fill out your member information as far as your address. Make sure that you give us a good phone number to reach you at and a good email address. If you are a person who only receives things by mail, make sure that your address is correct. We want to make sure that we can reach you. Next portion is your member number. If you don't know it, you can look it up through the Reds Pro system. You can either do it by name, or if you want to type in zip code and then see if your name pops up or your ranch name, that's fine. Or you can give us a call here at the office and we can look that up for you. Over here on the right-hand side is going to be the payment column. So if you're submitting a check, please write the amount of the check in there as well. If you want us to call you to get credit card information when we receive the samples, please write call for payment, and that will prompt us to go ahead and give you a call. So now we're going to go over the actual order form itself. Animal ID is going to be how you identify that animal. In Reds Pro, what is the animal ID? If your animal is not registered, make sure that the animal ID matches what you have written on the card So like the hair card or the blood card or what you've written in the ID column of the TSU section, just so we make sure that we connect the correct sample to the correct animal. Next over is going to be the registration number. So this again is required for all of our genomic tests. So the GGP testing, make sure you have it in there, double check it. If you need to look up the animal in the system, please take advantage of that. Next column over to the right is the sample barcode number or cane code. The sample barcode number is actually going to be located on the back side if you have a blood or hair card. If you have an AGI card, you can still use that. Please do not submit more than 10 of those to us because we manually have to go on and put a barcode on it. And since we can send you the blood cards for free, please take advantage of that. But if you do happen to find yourself in a situation where all you have is an AGI card, that is okay. Just make sure that you order some blood cards from us for in the future. The cane code is what you're going to see on the semen straw itself. Please write that in there. If you have a tissue sample, please write the number on the side of the vial there as well. If you have a whole blood tube, you can try to identify those tubes by numbers. Some folks do it that way, or by A, B, C, D. Please write that in there. Next column over is sample type. So that's blood, hair, tissue. There's also, you can write S for semen if that's what you're submitting. Date of birth for the animal, the sex if it's male or female. And then we're going to get over to the testing area. So we have the genetic defects column. So let's say you have an animal that just needs OS testing because it's hung up on that. You'll write OS there in the genetic defect column. Now I'm going to jump over to the genomic areas. If you were running that same animal, it needed OS, but you decided to run it on the LD bundle, or HD, OS is already included in those tests. So you don't have to write OS in the genetic defect column because it is already included in that test. Now let's say you wanted to run the GGP-LD and you wanted to test for NH, then you would need to write NH in the genetic defect column. Then we have BVD next to genetic defects, parentage on file. I get a lot of questions about this, and basically, let's say you have a calf and you turned out a couple different bulls, not sure who it's out of. You would mark parentage for that calf. Let's say you need to get the minimum requirement on file for your donor dam or your sire. Parentage is what you're going to mark. That test kind of covers quite a bit. Now, if you're running the ULD, the LD defect bundle, or HD, parentage is already included in those. Next column to parentage is ULD. So that includes the parentage and the genomic enhanced DPDs. LD has the parentage, genomic enhanced DPDs, OS, and MA testing. The LD defect bundle, like I covered before, has all 6 defects that we currently monitor, plus parentage and the genomic enhanced DPDs. And then HD is one of our highest marker tests. Most times this may be used more for your higher impact sires or your donor dams. You don't necessarily have to fall into that category in order to run one of those, but that's kind of the general idea of the HD. That it has the parentage, the genomic enhanced DPDs, OS, and MA testing as well. The next columns over are going to be for your sire and dam options. Now let's say you have 10 bulls that you turned out. You're not sure who this calf is out of. What you're going to do is you're going to take advantage of the 5th page of the DNA packet, which I will show you and cover later. And you're going to list all the sires in there, and then you'll write, if you have a most probable sire, you write that in sire column number 1. And then you would write, if you designated that group as group 1, you'll write that in sire column 2. So that way, if we try the most probable sire and it does not qualify, we'll move on to that group and test it against the group. Now, if you don't have a group, feel free to just write in the sire's number in the sire 1 column. If you have a second sire, like a cleanup bull, feel free to write his number in the sire 2 column. And you can do the same exact thing for the dam column. So you can have a dam group, or you can write in the dam who the calf is out of. One of the most important things for you to remember is to make sure you sign the order form. We physically cannot submit the samples without your signature. So make sure that you're signing it. We've moved it from the bottom of the page into the middle after filling out all your information. Hopefully this helps you remember to get it signed. Feel free, if you don't have it signed, and let's say you've already sent off the form, please contact us. We'll get you over our electronic signature. This second page, I'm not going to go over too much. It's the same as the first page. It just doesn't have our terms and conditions, hence why it's a continuation of the RAAA DNA order form, and it cannot be submitted alone because it does not have the signature page. So make sure you're submitting the previous slide to us. So here's going to be that page 5. This is going to be for your multi-sire and dam groups. Like I said, let's say you have, group 1, and that has maybe 5 sires in it. You're going to write their registration numbers in the reg column, and then we'll make sure to compare that if the first sire is not an option or it excludes to it. If you're submitting a sample on one of those animals in your bull group, let's say maybe bull 102 doesn't have DNA on file, but you're submitting it with the samples, please make sure you're still filling out the order form for him on that first page. And then in the sample enclosed section, please write yes, so we know that he is within the DNA job, so that way we manually go back and compare those for you. So this page isn't too different. This is actually our electronic form. I just wanted to bring to your attention that the tabs are on the bottom. I get a lot of questions that says, I'm only on the sample collection basics. I can't seem to get off of it. All you have to do is scroll down, and then you should see those other tabs there for you. So some quick reminders to use the DNA submit report to help you with electronic submissions. I will go over where to find that and how to pull that here in the next couple of slides. If you're submitting over 35 animals, you are required to send an electronic form to us. So all you need to do is fill out that form and email it over to us. You can also include a hard copy if you would like, but you are not required to, as long as you have your signature either on the electronic form or the paper form is fine. The next part is to have the hair and blood cards in the order of the order form. It helps us with efficiency here in the office, especially if you're submitting 50 plus samples. It's easier for us to go through them and just boom, 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 that matches up to the form, and we keep things moving. You can use rubber bands to keep those cards together, or if you have another creative way, that's fine as well. TSUs need to be in numeric order. I will also show you a picture at the end of this presentation on how to do that. March through June is the best time to submit for fall animals. That is our slower season, so generally we can move things along a little bit quicker for you. It's not always guaranteed, but it's much better to be earlier than later when submitting DNA. So here's that DNA submit report. I'll go over it in a little bit more detail. So you need to be logged into your Reds Pro account. Once you do that, you'll go to My Reports tab. Then you're going to wait for the drop-down menu and select My Reports. So you can do a pre-made group or an existing group here. You can see like bull herd inventory, fall cow inventory. That's awesome if you're submitting, let's say, all your 2018 born bulls. That's a great report to use. Now, if you are not maybe using all of your 2018 born bulls, it might be better for you to do a quick group. All you have to do there is just type in the registration numbers that you would like to test, and then it can generate that report for you. You'll see over on the right-hand side the DNA submit report. That is what you're going to want to click on. If you do the DNA report, that's just going to show you all the animals that have DNA on file for you, not necessarily giving you the information to copy and paste into your electronic form. So I would highly suggest taking advantage of the DNA submit report. It's a great report. It moves it along. It makes sure that the ID that you wrote down on your paper matches what's in the system, and it's really nice to use. So here's going to be where the TSUs are. So in numerical order, as you can see, that very top blue arrow, 773 starts off. You can see it on the form with that second blue arrow, 773. This helps us move down the TSUs a lot quicker. And you can see over on the right-hand side of this that there's actually a QR code on the side, and that's what we use when we start scanning them in. You can order scanners through Amazon. If you don't have one, I highly suggest it. It is super slick, makes it very quick for you. Make sure that you're putting the IDs in the box. That just helps us match up everything here in office and makes us make sure that we're submitting the correct animal. And if you, let's say, have a TSU that you aren't submitting, let's say it was 779, please just put an X in there. That way we know that you're not submitting the TSU. Please don't include that TSU in the box if you are not submitting it. We only want to receive TSUs that you plan on submitting. So here's just a couple TSU's do's and don'ts. You're going to want to make sure the red stopper's in place, the fluids in the TSU, clear vision of the tissue, and the green ball on the bottom. If you hit those things, hopefully your sample will be good to go. Usually if we find a sample that maybe has one of those things missing, we'll try to give you a call or email and just make sure that you want to still submit the sample. If you have any questions on this, please feel free to give us a call. We're here to help. You can also email us at dna@redangus.org, and we will try to answer your question as quickly as possible. I hope this was informative. If there's anything you want to see on any of our newer and going forward YouTube videos, please let us know.